Picture this, a cafe, October 2025. The air smells like burnt coffee and quiet ambition. Over here, we have Chloe, laptop open, eyes wide, fueled by a triple shot latte and pure, uncut anxiety. Her screen is a digital battlefield, a dozen tabs for LinkedIn, Indeed, and a meticulously color-coded spreadsheet tracking 217 job applications, sent, ghosted, rejected, repeat. Now pan over to the other side of the room. This is Liam, same age, same cafe, same official employment status. His laptop is also open, but he's calmly editing a video for his niche TikTok channel about sustainable travel. He sips a ridiculously overpriced matcha, jots an idea in a leather-bound notebook, and looks content. On paper, Chloe and Liam are identical. Gen Z, educated and technically unemployed, but they are living in completely different universes. One is trapped in a soul-crushing cycle of digital rejection. The other is on a self-declared strategic pause. What separates them? And more importantly, what does this split-screen reality tell us about the absolute state of work today? We're about to break down the two types of unemployment that are defining a generation. If you've ever felt stuck in the job hunt or wondered if there's another way, you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed to GENSHIFT so you don't miss our deep dives into the new world of work. Archetype 1, the desperate job hunter, the system's victim. Let's go back to Chloe, our desperate job hunter. To understand her world, you first have to understand that she is not alone. Not even close. As of mid-2025, the youth unemployment rate for people her age is hovering around 10.8% in the United States, 14.4% in the European Union, and 9.7% in Australia. Millions of young qualified people are in the exact same position, staring into the abyss of the online job portal. Chloe is playing a game, but the game is rigged. She is trapped in what organizational psychologists call the experience paradox. You've heard it before. You can't get a job without experience, but you can't get experience without a job. It's a classic catch-22, but for Gen Z, it's been supercharged into an almost unbeatable final boss. A recent analysis of millions of job listings revealed that a staggering 38% of so-called entry-level positions now demand 3 to 5 years of prior experience. Let that sink in. The very first rung on the career ladder is now located 5 feet off the ground. This isn't an accident. It's a design flaw born from a fundamental shift in corporate strategy. Decades ago, companies filled about 90% of their vacancies through internal promotions, investing in training new hires, and molding them for long-term loyalty. Today, driven by an era of ruthless efficiency that began in the 80s and 90s, companies find it more cost-effective to recruit ready-made skill sets. The number of vacancies filled internally has plummeted to just 28%. But the second, more brutal blow has been dealt by technology. Artificial intelligence is now automating the very routine, foundational tasks like basic data entry, customer service queries, and simple coding that once served as the training ground for new graduates. The bottom rung of the ladder hasn't just been raised, it has been systematically sawed off by a 1-2 punch of corporate risk aversion and algorithmic efficiency. The job hunter is playing a game that is no longer designed for them to win. This systemic failure inflicts a deep psychological toll. Chloe isn't just sending out resumes, she's sending them into a black hole where they're scanned and often rejected by an applicant tracking system, ATS, before a human ever sees them. The constant deafening silence, punctuated only by automated rejection emails, creates what therapists call cumulative micro-trauma. Each rejection, no matter how small, is a tiny emotional wound. Over hundreds of applications, these wounds accumulate, eroding self-worth and fostering a state of learned helplessness, the belief that no matter what you do, you cannot change your outcome. This is where the system's cruelty becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The relentless rejection doesn't just block a person's path, it fundamentally damages their confidence and increases their anxiety. Research confirms that prolonged unemployment is directly linked to higher rates of depression and anxiety, with the mental health consequences worsening the longer a person is out of work. So, on the rare occasion Chloe does land an interview, she walks in already feeling defeated, less articulate, and more desperate. The market's failure becomes internalized as her own personal failure, creating a vicious feedback loop that is incredibly difficult to escape. She's not just jobless, she's being psychologically conditioned by the very system she's trying to enter. Archetype 2. The Funemployed Explorer, the Value Rebel. Now let's turn our attention back to Liam, our Funemployed Explorer. He sees the same rigged game Chloe is forced to play, but his response is radically different. He's not playing, he has chosen to opt out, at least for now. To understand Liam, we need to talk about the late, great anthropologist David Graeber and his concept of bullshit jobs. Graeber defined these as roles so completely pointless, unnecessary, or pernicious that even the employee can't justify their existence. He identified 5 main types: flunkies, who exist only to make someone else look important; goons, who are paid to act aggressively on behalf of their employer, like lobbyists or corporate lawyers; duct tapers, who fix problems that shouldn't exist in the first place; box tickers, who create the appearance that something useful is being done; and taskmasters, who manage people who don't need managing. Graeber argued that these jobs inflict a kind of spiritual violence on the human soul, a deep, demoralizing misery that comes from pretending your work matters when you know it doesn't. This is the exact form of psychological burnout that the Explorer is strategically avoiding. For Gen Z, this isn't just an abstract theory, it's a core operating principle. Survey after survey confirms that this generation prioritizes mental health, meaningful work, and work-life balance above almost everything else. A recent Deloitte poll found that only 6% of Gen Z see reaching a senior leadership position as their primary career goal. They've watched older generations sacrifice their well-being on the altar of hustle culture and have collectively decided it's a bad deal. So when Liam looks at a corporate job description that screams bullshit, his decision to stay unemployed isn't an act of laziness. It's a calculated cost-benefit analysis. He is proactively trading short-term financial stability to avoid the guaranteed long-term psychological damage of a soul-crushing job. It's an act of radical self-preservation. So what does this strategic pause actually look like? It's a carefully curated ecosystem of side hustles, freelance gigs, and passion projects, often managed through platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. Liam might be building a small drop-shipping store, creating content for a brand, or learning a high-demand skill like AI prompt engineering online. This lifestyle is deeply connected to broader cultural movements like slow living and career minimalism, which reject overwork in favor of intentionality. Now, it's crucial to acknowledge the massive asterisk here. This path, often labeled with the slightly privileged term fun employment, is frequently enabled by some form of financial safety net, be it savings, parental support, or a partner's income. It carries its own risks of financial instability, a loss of routine, and the social stigma of being perceived as unproductive. But to dismiss it as simple idleness is to miss the bigger picture. The Funemployed Explorer is, in essence, a proto-entrepreneur. They are beta testing the future of work by juggling multiple projects, building a personal brand, and developing a diverse range of skills. They are intuitively practicing the principles of what is now being called the portfolio career. They are not just jobless, they are running a micro-enterprise of one, accidentally becoming the research and development department for the post-corporate career. The new definition: when unemployment becomes strategy. So we have our 2 archetypes: the desperate job hunter, banging on a door that won't open, and the fun-employed explorer, who's decided to build their own house next door. It's tempting to see them as opposites, one a victim, the other a rebel, but that's not the full story. They are 2 sides of the same crisis coin. They are both rational responses to a single undeniable truth. The 20th century model of a stable linear career is fundamentally broken. The job hunter represents a collision with the structural collapse of that model, the missing entry-level jobs and the impossible experience requirements. The explorer represents a collision with its value collapse, the realization that many of the jobs that do exist are meaningless and psychologically toxic. Both paths lead to the same conclusion: the old map is useless. We need a new one. This is where the split screen merges. The solution, the new map, is the portfolio career. This isn't just a new buzzword, it's a complete restructuring of what it means to work. A portfolio career is a professional identity built not on a single job title, but on a diverse collection of income streams, part-time roles, freelance contracts, consulting gigs, personal projects, and entrepreneurial ventures. It's the intentional, strategic version of what the Funemployed Explorer is already doing intuitively, and it's the escape hatch that the desperate job hunter desperately needs. An Upwork survey found that the largest group of Gen Z freelancers identify as portfolio careerists who apply highly specialized skills across various clients and industries. Think about it. This model is the perfect antidote to the core anxieties of both archetypes. For the hunter, whose greatest fear is the precarity of relying on one unattainable job, a portfolio of multiple income streams provides a powerful financial safety net. If one client or project disappears, others remain. For the explorer, whose greatest fear is the existential dread of a single meaningless job, a portfolio allows them to blend passion projects with practical income-generating work. It satisfies the dual needs for purpose and stability. The portfolio career merges the hunter's need for security with the explorer's need for meaning. The path forward, then, is a conscious shift in mindset. It means moving away from the idea of finding the one job and toward building a personal portfolio. This requires a focus on upskilling in high-demand, transferable areas like AI fluency, digital marketing, creative skills, or even skilled trades, and embracing a non-linear journey of career stacking where each new gig or project adds a valuable layer to your professional brand. Conclusion. So, whether you identify as a desperate job hunter, a Funemployed explorer, or, like most people, some anxious hybrid of the two, know this: your struggle is not a personal failing. It is a symptom of a broken system. But Gen Z isn't just enduring this crisis, they are actively rewriting the rules. They are transforming the very definition of unemployment from a passive state of failure into a dynamic phase of transition, strategic experimentation, and entrepreneurial learning. The old gatekeepers are losing their power because this generation is busy building new gates. So, which one are you? The desperate job hunter, the Funemployed explorer, or a mix of both? Let us know your story in the comments below. Your experience is part of this massive generational shift. The future of work isn't a straight line, it's a portfolio, and you are the ones designing it. Thanks for watching GenShift.